If there's one rule of thumb with comic books, it's that death is just an inconvenience for most superheroes. Time and time again, we've seen the big boys and girls shrug off the old Grim Reaper and then punch prostates one panel over. It spikes sales and gives stories the emotional wallop, but it's a bit overdone as a storytelling device in this day and age, and there are certain characters who should have just stayed 6 feet deep. In fact, here are 8 of them. With this in mind, I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 comic book characters who should have stayed dead. Number 8, Wolverine. Oh god, where do we start? There are numerous times that he should have died, like when Magneto tore the adamantium from his body, or Horde tore his heart out from his chest, or Nitro reducing him to a skeleton, or that time he crashed into a sun aboard Asteroid M. Take your pick. Oh, and of course, according to Doctor Strange, every time he died, his soul went to purgatory, and then he dueled an angel of death for the right to return to life. Yeah, that's a bit weird. But for this list, we're talking about his most recent demise, the poignant moment that he suffocated to death inside an adamantium shell, and in doing so, he left behind a unique monument to his life and its many struggles, a statue of himself. It was a great send-off. So, naturally, despite the fact that 2 heroes have stepped in to take his place, X-23 and Old Man Logan, Wolverine is making yet another comeback, and it's hard to argue against the fact that he, well, really should have stayed dead. Number 7, Dr. Octopus. The relationship between Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man has grown pretty convoluted over the years, especially since the Superior Spider-Man story arc. But before that, Doc Ock was given a wonderfully and unexpectedly meaningful demise. When Spidey was poisoned by the Vulture and facing certain death, Doc Ock actually cured Spider-Man, first claiming that he wanted to be the one to kill the hero, but also confessing that he didn't really know who he would be in a world without Spider-Man as his foil. It was a deeply moving character revelation, one made more impactful when Doc Ock was murdered shortly after by Kane, one of Peter's many clones. So in one fell swoop, he saved Spider-Man and was then killed by him. It was peculiar and perfect, and oh wait, he's back again, never mind. Cancel the emotions, guys, cancel the emotions. Number 6, KRAVEN the Hunter. So this is actually rather similar in message to Doc Ock. Imagine that you consider yourself to be the greatest big game hunter in the world, but one particular animal, your white whale, has eluded you over and over. Finally, you capture it, proving yourself superior to it, and then you end your own life satisfied and content with your actions. This is the story of KRAVEN the Hunter, and it's a strange one since you find yourself sympathizing with one of Spider-Man's most dogged tormentors. When he finally ends his life, you might not approve, but you understand, and Peter has a lot to grapple with in its wake. But oh no, wait, he's then resurrected and is plonked into Tales with Howard the Duck and Squirrel Girl. Not exactly a fitting return if you ask me. Number 5, Amanda Waller. The thing with Amanda Waller, much like when that guy down the market insisted the curry I bought off of him wouldn't cause me to mess myself, is that she's full of shit. I mean, I wasn't afterwards, but she is. So when she gets shot in the heart by Deadshot and air quotes killed, you should know better, you really should. That's because she manages to have Enchantress manipulate the bullet so that it hits her in the most repairable part of her heart. Her words, not mine. It was a worse excuse than those that I make when I slip away from the clawing grasp of your mother's coma in the middle of the night. I mean, last time I told her I was going to go mix paint in the basement and she believed me, the dull loaf. There's my one per list. Number 4, Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn's resurrection was so terrible that it didn't just ruin him, it also ruined Gwen Stacy. Originally, he knocked Gwen off a bridge, resulting in the death of the woman that Spidey loved. In the ensuing battle, Osborn was killed after colliding with his own goblin glider. It was a dark moment for the web-slinger, but one that had major stakes, one that felt visceral and real. Years later, it would turn out that Osborn survived, yay, and he took his revenge on Spider-Man by enacting stupid plot after stupid plot. He replaced Aunt May with an actress, gave Flash Thompson brain damage, kicked off the Clone Saga, and forced readers to watch as he plowed Gwen Stacy, making her give birth to murderous twins. This whole story was so ass! In one fell swoop, he went from being Spider-Man's greatest rival to the least believable and most convoluted. Get in the grave, you big Willy. Number 3, Barry Allen. Barry Allen saved the entire multiverse by choosing to race to his demise in order to stop the Anti-Monitor. He did what no one else could, and in doing so became the undeniable high point of the Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was simple, it was brilliant, it was beautiful. Oh, and he's back. Oh, brilliant, he's back again, is he? I mean, you have to say that this does cheapen the greatest death in comic book history by this, and you have to ask yourself again, why? It actually caused a few issues beyond the nostalgia pop as well, because it was like the DC was saying, the new Flashes can't get the job done, so bring back the old dudes. What is this, the WWE? Number 2, Aunt May. Aunt May did actually die once, but as alluded to in the Norman Osborn entry in this list, it was actually an actress so dedicated to her craft that she was willing to die just to play the role well. I know, right? I know, it's almost f***ing unbelievable. But the story that earns Aunt May a spot in this list is the time that she should have died. Yes, it's time to once again pan one more day. The storyline where Spider-Man makes a deal with the devil to rewrite history, giving up his wife in order to save the life of an old woman who's been around for so long she's half dust. The dumbest thing of all is this. Why didn't he just rewrite history so that Uncle Ben was alive as well? Might as well go whole hog with the thing, right? But no, Aunt May is alive, alone, and looking like the most beat-up leather sofa you've ever seen. Apparently that's enough for Peter. Absolute tosh. And number 1, Jason Todd. Ooh, controversial, right? I mean, I actually quite like some of the Red Hood stories, but we have to admit, finding out it's Todd underneath the bonnet did kind of take a lot of heat away from his death. He was beaten to a pulp and then blown up simply because the fans didn't want to see him live, and they voted to let him die. However, not being one to listen to fans, DC brought him back via Superboy Prime, who punches reality and brings him back. Again, comic books, weird. The annoying thing is that while Hood might look cool, he's pretty ineffective. He's failed at taking on Batman and the Joker, so it kind of begs the question, why did they bring him back at all? As it stands, he's just another weird vigilante, and they're 10 a penny in the DC world.